Today we'll show you another shock absorber we received for repair. This one is from a Mercedes E-Class W213 AMG. W213
AMG.
Why emphasize AMG? Because AMG shock absorbers are different from standard ones on all Mercedes AMG models. There are clear differences compared to the regular versions. In addition to showing the issue with this particular damper and how we'll fix it, we'll also compare the AMG and base model shock absorbers. This specific unit comes from an E63 AMG. We're making this comparison because when people buy aftermarket shock absorbers for different part numbers, whether AMG, wagon, sedan, or base model, they're often sold the exact same universal damper. Let's not forget that all aftermarket dampers are non-adaptive. We'll show you restoring the original damper brings it back to OEM spec, guaranteeing your car still drives like a real AMG. Now we'll show you the disassembled dampers from both the base model and an AMG, along with their respective air springs. Technically, you could swap them and they'll fit the car. But there are noticeable design differences. For example, take a look at the casting here on the base version. Another interesting point, the AMG rod appears longer than the base one, but in fact, both have the same rod length. The difference is that the AMG has an internal spring between the piston and the guide, whereas the base model only has a rubber seal. The spring in the AMG unit pushes the rod downward. So when the shock expands, besides the piston doing its job, this rebound stop spring immediately engages something the base unit lacks. Instead, the base one only has a plastic bump stop and a small rubber pad. Also, because AMG dampers are stiffer by design, the top mounts on the airbags are different too. Here's one, and here's the other. Clearly different in both hardness and shape. One is AMG, the other is standard, even when servicing. An air spring, it's critical to use the correct AMG components. Why? Because every AMG owner deserves to know exactly what's under their car. We'll open the dampers shortly, but first, let's test them on the dyno to find out why they rattle and how they're performing. Then we'll disassemble them and show you the internals. We start with a pre-repair dyno test to measure the damper's current performance. This one had leaked quite badly. A large amount of oil came out and ended up inside the air spring. When oil leaks, it gets trapped inside the airbag because it's mounted right onto the shock body. That oil begins to break down the rubber over time. Eventually, the rubber fails and the vehicle drops and can't be driven. The test graph shows this damper is in really bad condition. On rebound, it provides nearly zero resistance. It's mostly gas inside, with very little oil remaining. The reason, as mentioned earlier, is that the oil has leaked through the guide, leaving only gas inside. There might even be a mix of oil and gas in the gas chamber. Now we're opening the shock to replace the necessary components and show you what's going on inside. Let's continue. Here are the shock absorbers, AMG and base model.
Ето ги амортисьорите AMG.
These are the working pistons with their rods from both shocks. What's the first thing we notice?
Стеблата. Какво се вижда от пръв поглед?
As we mentioned earlier, the AMG version includes a spring that constantly pushes the rod down when the shock extends and the rod rises. This spring is compressed.
Стеблото отива нагоре.
So it's basically working all the time.
Постоянно по време на работа на амортисьора работи.
In the base model, there's only a plastic pad, known as the rebound stop. What's important to understand?
Какво е важно да се знае?
The stiffness of a shock absorber is defined by these thin washers and shims,
Финни шайби и пластинки.
as well as by the size of these orifices. How does it work?
Как работи един амортисьор?
When oil passes through these holes, it creates resistance because the holes are small and act as restrictors. The stiffer the shims,
Ролята на дросел. Колкото по-твърди са пластините,
the less oil they allow to flow, resulting in a stiffer damper. When we repair your original shock absorber,
оригинален амортисьор,
we reuse the original piston with the same stack of shims. These don't wear out, they just get dirty. So we disassemble, clean, and reassemble them. The configuration of all shims and washers remains identical to the original, which guarantees the same stiffness as a brand new damper.
което гарантира
Even if two shims look the same, they can differ in thickness or quantity, which greatly affects the damping characteristics.
пластините с различна дебелина, може да си с различен брой.
So if you send us an AMG shock, it stays an AMG because we keep all the original internals.
Амортисьор от AMG, той си остава от AMG.
If it's from a lighter model, it retains its original setup. What are the main issues with these shock absorbers? These are well-known failure points. One of the most common is guide wear. Here is the guide where the oil seal is mounted.
В който е пресован масленият семеринг.
Inside, there's a bushing with a seal that keeps the oil in the system.
Държи маслото да не
When the oil leaks out, as we saw on the dyno,
при малко на стенда маслото и
there's nothing left to create resistance in the damper.
амортисьора нямаме масло и
In our repairs, we install an upgraded guide with a high-performance oil seal.
наши амортисьори
It's a custom component, and it's also removable.
маслен уплътнител. Ето това нещо.
Why does that matter? If the shock comes back to us years later, we can service it again just by changing the oil seal,
Амортисьора дойде след няколко години
without needing a full rebuild.
ние ще можем да го обслужим и да сменим само
In other words, we make the shock absorber fully serviceable, making future maintenance easy and cost-effective.
без да се налага да се
That makes it not only economical, but also an environmentally friendly solution.
И всеки бъдещ ремонт ще бъде изключително ефтин. Това е много екологично решение, много
We also replace the separator.
решение. Отделно в маслената камера, ето тук,
And its seal in the gas chamber.
камера в газовия компенсатор, се подменя
This gasket is located right here.
сепараторното уплътнение. Ето, то седи тук.
Inside the chamber, it's filled with nitrogen, and this ring separates the oil from the gas.
Разделя маслото от
As the seal wears over time due to constant movement,
така се движи, се износи този
gas begins to mix with the oil, turning it into foam,
отива в маслото, прави го
which causes the shock absorber to lose proper functionality.
пяна и амортисьора спира да работи.
We use silicone separator seals. They're more durable
По-добри са от това и те са
and significantly more resistant to high temperatures and wear. This is the DampTronic Sky system. Here you can see the electromagnetic solenoids. These are also disassembled and serviced because the solenoids that control damping have a mechanical part inside, which often jams due to contamination. When that happens,
седне и блокира, тогава
no matter what the car's computer commands, the damper may remain permanently soft or permanently firm.
правилната работа на соленоида и на
We test the correct operation of the solenoid and the whole DampTronic system on our bench. After assembling the shock, we'll demonstrate how we can adjust its stiffness to confirm that everything is functioning properly.
правим и възглавниците. Както ви казах, имаме
We also
нов
service the
оригинален
airbags.
тампон за
Here we have a
AMG,
new original
нов
pad for
тампон за базова
AMG
версия.
and a new pad for the base model. Since the damper leaked
Възглавницата, ето е отрязана
into the
възглавница.
air cushion, we cut it open and you can see how much oil is inside. The oil had damaged the rubber, causing the cushion to explode.
Да, експлодирал е, защото
Rubber like this isn't resistant to hydraulic oil. That's why it ruptured.
пресоваме.
In a moment, we'll show you how we press the new rubber sleeve onto the aluminum parts of the cushion. The rubber sleeve we use is made especially for us,
Която използваме, се произвежда
directly from the factory and branded with our logo, ensuring full quality control and leaving nothing to chance.
Качеството, без да оставяме нищо на случайността.
We conduct a final dynamometer test of the damper. This is the base model.
На амортисьора, това е базовата версия.
We'll show you that even after repair, it's still slightly softer than the AMG version.
Малко по-слаб от AMG версията.
This is an automatic test. After that, we'll also show you a stiffness modulation test.
С омекотяване. В момента сме
Right now, it's under maximum load, maximum firmest mode,
максимално твърд.
because as you know, the best way to test anything is under full load.
Най-добрият тест е когато е натоварена до край.
First, we can see that the graph is completely symmetrical, which indicates
Гарантира безупречна работа
perfect
на
damper
амортисьора,
operation, no free play, knocking, or noise.
без хлопане.
We're testing it under full load and measuring stiffness during compression and rebound. Bound and rebound are around 110 and 300. Then we slightly change
Променяме леко.
the voltage to the solenoid coil. And what happens?
Какво виждаме?
The shock gets softer, even softer, the softest. In fact, the rebound.
Както виждаме, около 3 пъти на ребаунд.
Stiffness changes about threefold. Here's the previous value. And here's the new one. That means all adaptive functions of the shock absorber work flawlessly after our repair. In a moment, we'll test the AMG version, so you can see how much stiffer it really is. Each hairspring is pressed using stainless steel rings.
Неръждаеми пръстени.
Just like the OEM ones, this is a Uniflex crimping machine, made in Germany.
Унифлекс машината. Немско.
It's a highly precise machine, the only one on the market,
Защото това е единствената.
that senses the pressing force and knows
Е чувствителна на сила. Тоест, знае с каква
exactly
сила
how much force to apply. It operates with hundredth of a millimeter accuracy.
и до 100 ньютон.
This guarantees an extremely precise crimping process,
Това гарантира изключително прецизен
ensuring durability and reliability of the airspring.
качество на въздушната възглавница.
That means it's neither overpressed nor underpressed.
Прекалено много. Така се
This is how all AirTec airsprings are produced,
AirTec,
including yours and everyone we repair, because quality is a must for us.
просто държим.
We also press the top part of the airspring
Пресоваме и горната част.
to demonstrate the process measuring both the diameter and pressing force.
Снимаме диаметър, налягане на стискане.
By the way, this is one of those airsprings people claimed
Твърди, че
couldn't be repaired and no one could crimp them properly.
пресова.
Yes, everything is measured with hundredth millimeter precision.
Милиметъра.
Perfect. And let's show you something else.
Между другото, да покажем още нещо.
Shock absorbers often suffer from corrosion. This is the area where the airspring compresses. Water gets trapped here, and over time corrosion can eat into the shock body,
Времето толкова ще прояде.
causing oil leaks. The wall literally gets punctured,
Стената му ще почне да запуска масло и
and then the shock becomes irreparable.
да буклука.
To prevent this, every shock absorber we service is sandblasted with glass beads.
Почиствана песъкоструйна машина с стъклени.
This is a fine abrasive that cleans the surface without damaging it.
Почти всяка повърхност без да
We'll now show you the process in action.
За демонстрация.
There you go, a quick demonstration. The surface is completely clean. Everything is done manually during the rebuild,
Всичко ръчно.
not with machines. Then we apply primer, paint, and clear coat to make every shock absorber long-lasting.
Всеки ремонтиран от нас амортисьор да бъде изключително дълготраен и да ви радва.
We're now testing the rebuilt AMG shock we've replaced.
След като вече сме оправили всичко,
The gas compensator, the guide, and wired the solenoid control to demonstrate its adaptive features.
на соленоидите, за да покажем адаптивните функции на амортисьора.
Even under light load, you can already feel
На ниско натоварване,
how firm it is, both rebound and compression. Compared to the base model, this one is significantly stiffer.
заемо по-твърд.
As it should be, it's AMG after all.
Въпрос за
We also run a manual test.
и
And here we go.
и започваме.
We check the resistance during compression and extension.
Сгъване, променяйки.
By adjusting the voltage to the solenoids, we can soften it. Watch, the rebound dropped from 53.
На ребаунт от 53.
By how many times?
Трябва да се справим.
The stiffness changes more than 7 times.
Амортисьора.
While driving, whether in sport or comfort mode, the control unit adjusts the damping
Качването на колата може да си променя
based on speed, road conditions, driving mode, and more.
автомобила преценява
It decides when to stiffen the shock for performance
избран режим и още много други параметри, дали
or soften it for comfort and a smoother ride.
да ви защити или да го направи мек, за да бъде комфортен, приятен.
That's it from us. We hope to see you again soon.
Надявам се да се видим отново. Оценете канала.
Subscribe to our channel. All the best.
Всичко добро.